Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rahul Kapoor, for your kind words. And yeah, totally agree that yes, and technology commercialization is the most crucial subject today in the world of startups and innovators. So, a very good afternoon to the innovators and startups of India. So, a very crucial topic we wish to discuss today is how we actually commercialize the technology, how will we monetize our IP assets. So, we all have some innovations in our hand, and we convert it into our granted patents too. But then, further, what to do with that? Exactly how this technology, how this innovation that we do by lots of hard work and lots of consistent efforts, then how will we monetize the benefits out of those innovations? So this is the most important topic nowadays, because once we get some kind of innovation and even intellectual property rights in our hands, we need to think very critically, like how will you actually use this for generation of revenue, for some wealth generation not only, but employment generation, to assist in the growth of economy of India, because the Indian economy is most of the time dependent on the GDP, that how people, the innovators of India, the startups of India, work themselves and make some products indigenously to convert it into some kind of prototype, some products which can generate revenue in this market. So uh, let's see exactly how the technology commercialization will lead to the development of the growth of GDP and all. So can I share my slide to all of you? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, thank you very much. So let's see exactly, whenever we have some innovation in our hand, a new idea, a new method, or a new device. So we encounter some kind of new idea in our mind whenever we like carry on our own studies, or whether doing some innovations. So whenever we wish to convert those idea into a prototype, a proof of concept, then sometime we even get IP rights but can't commercialize it. So commercialization is important to generate some profit, to generate some revenue out of those idea, out of those innovations. So many of the startups, whenever they have some idea in their mind, they go for IP filing, they go for IP monetization, but exactly they don't know how to go for a tech transfer of their innovation. Many of them develop a lab scale prototype and try to get some funding from many of the government agencies, such as Startup India seed funds are there, MSME policies, and they try to convert their prototype into a convert means like a revenue generating product. So those early stage startups work really hard to move towards the scale up and technology transfer. So, what are the important aspects that can really help in the scaling up of a lab scale product into a commercial product? And how will we go for the technology transfer to exactly go to the traction and growth stage startup? That is the most crucial nowadays. The technology transfer life cycle starts from research and development. So, whenever we do any research, what is the most important thing that has to be kept in our mind is like we have to be technically advanced and innovative as compared to any of the known prior arts. Known prior art could be a patent, could be a research work in a thesis, or could be a conference proceeding. But those innovative concepts, what we encounter in our daily lives during our academic curriculum or during our startup journey, we have to be very particular about how we can add more and more innovations to make it more technically advanced as compared to the earlier prior art. So definitely, if we are doing a very new kind of invention and there is no competitor in market, it's very easy to penetrate the market and to capture lots of revenue in very short time. But suppose if you are doing some innovations, it becomes a little bit hard to get in the market along with lot of competitors which are already there. So in the presence of big giants, it's very difficult for a small scale startup to get entered in the market and establish their own reputation, their own brands. But intellectual property rights helps in that. They helps to create monopoly for 20 years in the case of patent, 10 years if they have a good trademark, and if they can even protect their literary works or some reference material attached with those innovations in the form of copyrights. But it's important to do the evaluation of those innovation. So IP valuation is must. Once we generate some kind of intellectual property, we should do the evaluation of those intellectual property. How much it's important to do that, or should we keep it at trade secret? So once we evaluate our intellectual property, we should go for the IP protection, and right IP protection is necessary. Which type of IP protection do you require? It's trademark or it's a patent or it's copyright. We should go for that. Once we get our IP rights in our hands, we shouldn't stop here. We should definitely go for licensing or monetization of this. If we are running our own business, if we are own premise, this IP right helps to capture the market in a monopolistic way. If we don't own a premise and wish to have a collaboration with other companies to take our products put forward in the market, we can definitely have some licensing agreements with some of the companies, some of the bigger giants who can help us to grow more. So it's a general suggestion to all the startups who are listening to me, is like, if you don't own a premise and you don't have so much of money and you are not ready to bootstrap, and funding, it may not be very sufficient for that, you should collaborate with other bigger giants, go for licensing, go for tech transfer agreements, and we can proceed further. So licensing is such a thing that requires a lot of legal documentation, lots of legal criticality, and that has to be studied. I will discuss some of the more things about how the licensing agreements and how this kind of collaboration should take place for startup and the bigger giants. Product development is important. Once we have a kind of agreements, then we should give a very ready product to the industries so that they can utilize our innovations for the scale up of the product. So, whenever we go for patenting any innovations, the three criterias that we already know is like, it should be very new, novel. It should be have some reproducibility. Means like it should be capable of being made and used in industry. Means like whenever we make any product, it's sure to give the same outputs every time whenever we manufacture it. So it should have scalability, reproducibility, reliability of the data, and also it should have a robust product that must not change in quality from time to time, irrespective of the machines, equipments, personnel, premise. Everywhere we make it, it should give us the same outputs. So product development is a stage at which we actually scale up our product and test it. So for that also we need the collaborations, we need the help from bigger industries, and then this is the stage actually where we do the tech transfer. Means technology transforms from laboratory stage to the market stage. Once we enter the market stage, we want more growth. Means like it should grow in market, it should capture the market, it should become a demand in market, and adequately supply should be made by actual production at such scale which can meet the market demands. So for that, uh, once we have some innovation and we do the like grant of the patent with that, the major part for which the every startup struggles is like some kind of partnerships with the bigger companies who can support them, partnership with the government stakeholders. Like everyone, startups must register on the government e-marketplace, gem portals, so that they can get more and more work orders. So work orders and customers, these two things become very important for startup, because unless until they get it, they can't grow more. But because once they start selling the product, they can generate some revenue. Out of those revenue, they can again go for that. And the creditors turnover and debtors turnover ratios becomes very important at this point. So they should get the work order. So getting the work order sometimes become a very tedious task for the startups who are promoting less about their product. So promotion of the product become important. So, as a small startup, actually, whenever we enter the market, it's a very general tendency that people don't believe the newcomers. It becomes a struggle for them. Bigger giants are already established, and everybody want to buy a branded product. So, for a small scale startup, uh, their branding, their promotion is very important to stand alone in the market. But if they can't stand alone and they feel that it would be a very struggle period for the few years, it's better to have a good collaboration with the bigger giants, go with them for some time, and definitely you can stay apart anytime whenever you feel that, yes, I can stand alone in the market. So, but for that you should have to be very conscious about doing this such type of collaborations. How startups can really help in the growth of economy of the nation is very important, because India contributes to total global research and development expenses to about 2.8%. That has to be grown very fastly to like becoming a world economy. In terms of own GDP in the past decade, India has nearly spent a consistent 0.6 to 0.7% on research and development. Key component of any nation's growth is its science and technology. And for promotion of science and technology, uh, if every startup wish to do a technology transfer in a very smooth and consistent way, it would be easy to reach that good uh, developments in the science and technology. So the transfer of technology from the laboratory to the market. So it's very simple. Like many of the time, startups, many of the time, even student startups have a kind of query in their mind. If I have a lab scale product which is performing very well, but how to bring it into market? The first thing comes in my mind is like first go for IP protection. It should be in your name. That is very important for you to have a monopoly, and also that the rights over the product. So have IP rights with you. Once it is with you, go for a formal offer for entering in a memoranda of agreement with the other R&D organizations, other industries for transfer of technology. Which every startup, every such kind of innovator should sign a MOA with the R&D after getting the MOA approved from both the parties. So certain terms and conditions are there, the timeline of tech transfer, the documents that has to be shared, the confidentiality agreements, all this is important. And then comes the assessment of technology for the commercial potential. Technology should be assessed. How this technology, so what are the key components that has to be taken in mind? First of all, how much technology is needed in the market? Market survey, market research, and market validation is important. uh, how many people are currently using such type of products, what is the current market demand, what would be the future market demand, and in coming years, is it would be really such a product that would be really demanded by the people, or it is going to be obsolete or not to be used. So such kind of market survey, market requirement survey has need to be done. Commercial potential, how much it has the wealth generation capability, how many people will like it, how many people can prefer to buy it, and how the cost of the product can be increased in the coming years also. So commercialization potential need to be understood. Product, I'm not saying it should be a very innovative product that is not really there in market, then only you can exploit those products. It's not there. There are many already uh, customers available, many type of vendors available, many type of buyer sellers, all are available. But you should have some uniqueness in your product that makes you very apart from other kind of sellers. So even if you have the IP rights, sometimes the product is so common that you may not get the adequate number of buyers. So commercial potential assessment becomes here a like barrier which need to be first crossed before contacting any of the organization for tech transfer. Whenever we do the market survey, market analysis, its techno-economic feasibility, viability, basic engineering design packages, then we should make a tech profile. There should be a technology profile of the product for every of the technology, and non-critical informations that could be shared with the other organization with whom you are signing agreement and want your technology to be transferred at a larger scale, that has to be shared very clearly, because they can also assess the actual impact of this product in market in the coming years. Then technology transfer agreements, terms and conditions has to be finalized by sitting together in a meeting, consultation with the innovator as well as the tech transfer, the third party, because you have to be very sure about what you are going to provide them, what kind of confidentiality are there. And the most important point comes here is the terms and condition for licensing technology. Suppose I have my IP rights, I have my patent granted, and I'm giving it to some other third party, some other organization. So what I want in return, I want the royalties, because I'm collaborating with them and profits are being shared between that party and me. So some things has to be very much clear between both of us. So it's the lump sum premium. What are the conditions of royalty? Is it a lump sum premium? I'm giving you the formula and you are giving me a lump sum premium, like as a whole, for the upfront technology fee paid by industry. This is a total fee that is paid by industry to me. That is one option. Another option, recurring royalty on X factory sales. So what the sales is being happening, what is the total profit is being generated from that recurring royalties could be paid to me. That is another option. Third, the how much period of license is there? I'm licensing my technology for about 3 years, 4 years, because I know that in 3 or 4 years, I will be building my own premise. I will be manufacturing by my own. So that much time is required for me. I want to license the product just for 3 years or 4 years. So that has to be clearly mentioned. It doesn't mean that we license and later on the company says that no, I can't give back the license because the terms are not mentioned. Nature of license should be mentioned. It's exclusive license, limited exclusive, or non exclusive license. So, exclusive license means I'm totally giving it to you. I will not give it to any other person. Non exclusive means I can give it to 2 or 3 parties. They can both together, they are working for my own product. So, in this way, suppose if I'm giving a license for packaging to another party, license for manufacturing to another party, then also that is a non exclusive license. So sometimes some company can develop a product for me, but they can't do a very good packaging. So for packaging, for another purposes, I have some more other third parties. So uh, that has to be mentioned here. Then formally offering the technology to the industry licensing and communicating the transfer and other conditions. So there should be a formal requirement, like every party should be signing a proper affidavit and agreement, and then it should be made and recorded, so that in future course if something happen, then the legal protection should be with the innovator. The transfer of technology from the laboratory to the market takes some of the basic steps. So, suppose if this is my technology and I wish to give it to some other company, and those who are preparing for me and transferring my technology into from lab scale to the actually prototype stage, or to the final like you can say pilot scale, or to the manufacturing scale. So I have to demonstrate the technology to them, the technical know-how of all the product details, how it works. Also, the other party will provide the data on plant layout, specification of plant machineries, chemicals, suppliers, what I require. Sometimes my specifications are very different, so I have to provide to them. The data dossier is a kind of batch manufacturing record. So, what does it require? What type of tests? What type of validation? What type of you can say that every product requires some in-process quality control testing, some for finished products testing. So, all those data should be recorded in the form of dossier. So, what dossier will contain, that has to be specified, and all the details on infrastructure, utility, and also techno-economic data, everything must be shared with each other. So there should be definitely a very agreement need to be executed very critically, so that that party should always be doing the technology transfer for the innovator, but also to keep confidentiality about the product. So, while transferring, there are some points on hazard management, pollution control, mandatory clearances. So, the third party who is actually doing the tech transfer for us, they should have all those clearances, such as pollution control clearance, mandatory clearances about the site, about the hazard management. So, we should look after all those things, like the premise which is doing such kind of operations for us, or that should have all those certificates with them. Then only we can actually provide them the opportunity to actually do the third party manufacturing for us. Important is sometime the premiums and royalties become a kind of conflicts among both the parties. So what about the disbursement of the share of lump sum premium and royalties for various technology remitted by industry or licensee to the R&D organizations? So when will they give it, on recurring basis or a lump sum? That has to be written in the document if possible. It should be there. And whenever we hand over all the know-how of the document, actually we are giving everything, so that party can manufacture for on our behalf. So we have to release all the document, we have to uh, train some of them about our technology, we have to demonstrate the workability of the technology. And this has to be on mutual basis. They have to show us how their machineries, their equipments can really make our product, and we have to give them all the formulas, all the kind of compositions that need to be known by them. We hand over all the technologies, we hand over all the type of trainings that need to be given to their personnel to take care of our goods, because we know the basic stability criterias, uh, where we need to store it, where we need to process it, operation formalities, all those kind of like standard operating procedures that should be discussed with the personnel, so that our process should be as per our requirements. So whenever we think about the R&D institutions and science and technology ecosystem, so what is the role of the government stakeholders, what is the role of the ecosystem enablers to help the startups? They are doing the work in a very like meticulous manner. Even the like you might have heard about the startup India awards. Like many of the good startups have faced the award, even the states have backed awards for promoting startup. So what is their role exactly here is like they should inform the innovators about the latest technology developed around the world, because it's not about India. Now the business is going overseas, and whenever some new technologies comes in the India or world, every innovator must be well acquainted about it. Like not only the innovations which are very complex, but even very simple innovations that can generate lots of revenue in the market. So an objective assessment of the commercial potential of innovations are required. What is important about innovation? I'm giving an idea. It must have least resources, and it must generate good revenue. So, grassroots innovations, frugal innovations are currently the need of the hour. In agri-tech, there are a lot of innovations are going on in India, which are becoming a demand for the overseas markets too. So, an objective assessment of commercial potential is like whenever my assets are more and my liabilities are very less, definitely I will be earning more and more. So if you can make such an innovation which is made from very least resources, but a very good idea, so that idea, that intellectual property has the value, not the resources, not the like cost of raw materials. Cost of raw material may be very less. What is the cost would be there? It's the cost of the intellectual property, it's the cost of the idea that is generating revenue, not the cost of raw materials. So when the product is like that, it will have a kind of huge revenue generation potential, because the idea is protected, it's monopolized, and those ideas require least resources. It doesn't have so much of efforts in terms of lots of investments, lots of bootstrapping not required. So my suggestion to startups is like, think for an idea which has lots of revenue generation potential and least revenue or bootstrapping or investment needed. So we have to find out the objective assessment how much my idea would be exploited in the market. And definitely national and international patenting is must. Idea is simple, but it's very unique, useful, industrially applicable. Then national and international patenting will give you a monopoly over it, and also idea will be yours only. It will never be reverse engineered by anyone. It will never be taken up by anyone. So patenting is important. Then we have to find out how many potential manufacturers are there and how we could be differentiated from them. So once we find out that my product could be manufactured in this particular firm, then we need to contact to them. Even those firms can even connect us if they are interested. Then we go for negotiation of licensing agreement. Licensing agreement, suppose if it is put forward by you from another organization who is interested to collaborate with you, it doesn't mean that that is the final document. You should go through it. You can have your own terms and conditions. You can negotiate on the licensing agreement, and you can set up your own terms whenever needed. Suppose if you wish to license for 1 year or 2 year, definitely you should put forward those points over the another third party. And then you should have a legal backup for royalty collection. Royalty terms and conditions should be mandatorily written in the licensing agreement, because that's only a legal backup for you. So whenever sometime it happens that such royalties are not paid on time, then you should have some kind of legal backup. So uh, that royalty is has to be taken very critically. And IPR consultancy to firms and R&D institutions is there, where IPR means like once you have a patent granted, then every year it has to be kept on the journal of patents. So for that some fees has to be paid. So renewal of patent is must. So IP firms should be consulted, so that my patent must not get obsolete, must not be out of the register. So it should be maintained till the 20 years. And whenever some good ideas are there, definitely the ecosystem enablers provide them with good awards, prizes to motivate them for the future. Point comes is like how strategies are there to commercialize the technology is like uh, first the government gives grants to R&D laboratories, so that at least they can develop a workable product. They can validate their product, and they can scale up the laboratory processes. If some startup is really good, they could be monetized by the government awards and prizes. They can get funding for patenting their idea, commercializing their innovations. So early stage support is always available from the government. Startup India Seed Fund provide up to 50 lakh of debt uh, to startups and up to 20 lakh of grants. So early stage startups can apply for grant, and growth stage startups can apply for debt. Even many MSME policies, MSME Tarun loan, MSME Mudra loans, all are available for early stage startups. Nowadays in India, the grassroots innovations are currently growing by leaps and bounds, because many of the government agencies such as DST, DBT, CSIR, ICAR, they are identifying such kind of frugal innovations. And those frugal innovations are very much welcomed in outside countries of India. I'm giving you some examples of this. This is a plowing machine that is motorcycle based. So these are just, I'm proud to say that these are all innovators from Gujarat, very rural areas of Gujarat, like Amreli, Vadodara, or some are from Gandhinagar. So you can see these are innovations which have brought laurels by winning lots of awards. So this is a very simple machine, plowing machine. So earlier bullock carts and were all being used to plow the fields. Earlier, later on, these were being converted to the motorized machines such as tractors and all. But nowadays you can see such motorcycles are so comfortable. AI based monitoring system for farms. So they are monitoring everything on farm. They are this is totally AI based. Such machines are like uh, providing large good quality seeds. They are analyzing the soils. They are analyzing the irrigation, and they are overall monitoring the whole farming practices. So there is no need to move from one side of farm to another by a farmer by just walking on the farms and getting tired. It's not needed. Nowadays, drones look after it. Drones look after how, like, your seeds are growing up, the stages of your cultivation, uh, what the soil needs, and they also provide irrigation to the soils. So, the farming is so much easier. These are totally artificial intelligence based. The data are being collected also about the farms. So these systems nowadays, and this is very helpful for agri-tech. This is a smart tong. Smart tong is a very simple device, but that has also a revenue generation potential because people will buy this. So this is a system through which any of the hot container could be moved from one place to another by using this smart tong. This is a fridge. This is a mitti cool fridge that is made by a very small scale farmer in a remote area of Gujarat. So this is fridge made up of clay. It works on the principle of evaporation, simple evaporation. So water from the upper chamber drips down the sides, and the inside compartments are kept cool. So the same principle, actually a compressor works in a fridge, and internal compartments are kept cool. But this is very frugal innovation. And yeah, this is validated. The internal components are kept cool for longer time. It was prevented from deterioration, and that's why all the materials stored inside the fridge were fresh. So this could be kept anywhere, this could be carried anywhere, doesn't require electricity. So such simple innovations are being supported by the government, and these are highly welcomed outside India, because they outside India the major focus is the climate protection, environmental protection, and it works without any electricity. So such kind of frugal innovations need to be transferred. The technology should be transferred. So suppose if such innovations comes in market with least bootstrapping, least investment, and generating potential, generating lots of revenue, because you are manufacturing on a large scale, so you will give employment to people also. So this will be a startup. So an idea which is really useful but uh, doesn't require much resources is the best idea. Strategies to commercialize technology comes as whenever we have certain technology, we should promote it. Promoting in the terms like we should have a very good licensing agreement. We should have our own terms of negotiation. Once we promote our idea well, we get a good grant, we get some awards, we get some prizes, we are well known in India and the world. It would be easy to have a kind of collaboration with other industries, have a good negotiation. uh, our all documents should be on our favor. So for that we should have lots of reports preparation about feasibility, basic engineering design package. We should organize training programs, we should participate in exhibitions, publishing periodicals, audio visuals to popularize the indigenous technology. So once such technologies are popularized and becomes a kind of product of nation, Amul has adopted this practice. Like it looks like this is a product of our nation, the taste of India. So in that way, if we are promoting our product in such a way that even industries become interested to collaborate with us for tech transfer, even if you don't own a premise, even if you don't manufacture on our own, we can get third party manufacturers at a very negotiable terms. So, technical evaluation of the innovation is important. How technically we are different from others, how we are filling the gaps in technology, and becoming technically competent to whenever we enter the market, there shouldn't be any competitor like us. They are there, but our uniqueness, our unique selling proposition, our value added products are very much different from the products already there in the market. So the next point comes is the facilitating export of the Indian products. So Indian products, whenever they need to be sold in other countries, they should have patent rights there. So emphasis is on the international patent production. So whenever we go for patent production in other countries, we should always go for the PCT filing, that is Patent Cooperation Treaty, because till now we are getting 90% reduction in fees in the international patent filing, because India is in the developing countries. So in everywhere we don't have like transmittal fees. In every fee in the PCT route we will have a 90% reduction. And once we go through the PCT, we will have our patent search done, patent examination, preliminary examination, that is optional, it is done. So whenever we enter after 31 months to any of the regional country, uh, somewhere we are very sure that our patent will be granted or will not be granted, and then there would be a saving of money before entering in any of the regional country. So we can select the regional country before 31 months where to enter. So PCT route is the best route for entering the international. Value added technology should be assessed by doing the market survey. First is the problem. Whenever we see any problem and we find any solution to that, so that problem solving approach uh, is important. But along with that, we should think of, for solving this problem, what are the current competitors, current products available in market, and what the problem still the product is facing. So if you're solving that particular problem, you can stay apart from already existing product in the market. So suppose this is a big problem and that product is actually solving, but still you find some of the kind of loopholes. So that loopholes need to be addressed. Then only we can become a little bit technically more competent as compared to the earlier product. For licensing the technologies with other companies and the end user organizations, the best practices should be adopted, so that industry ready technology should be produced. And every institution, that is a general suggestion, is like uh, they should be monetized for uh, development of technology, and they should have a good collaboration with other organizations also. So important is in the I think many of the academicians, if they are listening to me, it's whenever we have a industry institute partnerships, then such linkage can really help in the transfer of technology of the students. So in the lab scale technology, whenever we see them, sometimes we feel that it may not be very feasible to enter the market. But if we have some industry in collaboration with us, we can scale up the product in industry. We can make them partners. We can file the even patents together. So in the later courses also they will help us. And we can take the product, because in universities, even if it is a very big university, sometimes it's not possible to do the tech transfer at university level only. So if we have a linkage with the organizations, industry, R&D centers, we can transfer our lab scale technology to that level. So every student startup, every student innovator, if they have done something very good in their projects, they should definitely take the advantage of that industry institute linkage and partnerships and develop their product from a lab scale product to a commercial scale product. So I'm very happy to answer your questions. If you have anything about the tech transfer, about the startup steps, startup journey, or about like any of the IPR, if you possess, if you own any IPR and wish to commercialize it, wish to monetize it, and want to know the steps exactly to follow to get the government funding, to go through the startup journey for tech transfer, collaborations, any of the documentation, you can definitely ask me.
I'm trying to see the questions. Actually, it's the last session, so I think the audience is also a bit tired. Let me see. So yeah, I think Chandni Jha Ma'am, what are the basic things which we require before starting any startup, and things which we should keep in mind about its pros and cons? Okay, a
Oh,
bit general question.
yeah. So, okay. So this is a general question for all the startups, and I'm addressing it on behalf of Chandni to all the startups about the answer of this question. So whenever you have any startup, so first thing is that you should, if you are like thinking of any startup, first of all, you should have an innovative technology in your hand. So innovative technology, I just said that it should fill the gaps that the earlier technology has, and you have to do the market survey for that. So your product must solve a problem, and that problem must not be solved earlier by earlier existing marketed products. So if you are filling those gaps, at least you are sure to bring a unique selling proposition in market, should have some value added product in market which is different from already existing product. So that first thing, and first and foremost thing. After that, once you have a lab scale product that is tested and validated, you should definitely fetch some of the government funding, because that's not only funding, but it's a kind of brand, a reputation that I am a Startup India funded product, and should go for a DPIIT recognition. DPIIT recognition is must for startup, that normally takes about 1 week, and it can make you a category of startup, and you will be eligible for all the government fundings under Startup India seed fund schemes. After that, once you have those things, you should apply definitely for the tax exemption for 3 years. So all the startups who are DPIT recognized can avail the facility of tax exemption for the 3 years, and also you should like go for GST registration of your product. That is like your charter accountant or any finance person will help. So GST registration is must. If you have any premise, you should go for the site audit and get your premise approved for clearances. And if you have a product which is based on FMCG food product, you should go for the license under Food and Drug Authorities. If you are making some of the kind of nutraceuticals or drugs which are allopathic based, not the Ayurveda product, should go for the Drug and Cosmetics Act licenses. So licensing part is important for you. So any of the product which is a medical device or any product, so if it is a medical device, I don't know about the product, you should go for the ABC type of licenses that are already there on the sites. So that regulatory compliances are must before entering the market. So you should have your test licenses if you are doing some kind of such products, and after getting test license, you should get it tested in all the government organizations and also the private R&D labs. So once your test license part is done, you can go for the manufacturing license. Manufacturing license need the documentation of test licenses. Means like your testing is done, your testing data, your credentials, your certificates from where you did the testing. That will help you to get the manufacturing license. Once you get the manufacturing license, now you should look after where to manufacture your product. Is it your own premise? Normally in Startup India seed fund, if you are applying for debt up to 50 lakhs, but it will be difficult for you to use those 50 lakhs for your premise, you can use a rented premise. So even a rented premise could work, doesn't need to have your own premise. So in a rented premise, you should even go for the site audit. You should have your proper layout, like should be suitable. Suppose it depends on your product. If it is a kind of such products which require proper HVAC conditions to be maintained, like humidity, ventilation and air conditioning, so that need to be established in your premise and should be audited, and certification must be done. uh, to surpass this, I just explained to you, like you can negotiate with some other company to manufacture for you for technology transfer of your product. You can talk to some other pharma giants, or if it's a pharma product, if it is software based product, you can talk to other companies and can make a licensing document based on negotiations. You can charge royalties from them, who can do the tech transfer on your behalf. If you have a granted IP, you can even license your IP to another company and get royalty in return for some time, till you are very much eligible for manufacturing your own product. So till now, you can at least generate revenue out of your product by licensing your IP or technology transfer, giving your product data, your means like data sheet, your composition, formulation to other party who can do tech transfer, who can do scale up of your product and manufacture on your behalf. So that's just, I told you, it could be exclusive or non-exclusive. So you can do the like tech transfer for product development at one premise or packaging to another premise. In that way, you can collaborate with few of the companies and can take your product forward for from lab scale to manufacturing scale and for production. So till now, like it's important for a startup to have their financial projections ready. So you should have the proper calculation of your creditor turnover, inventory, because you have to store overhead cost, then your profitability ratio, what it could be. And the last part comes is the contacting the venture capitalists, angel investors who can invest in you. So before that, you should have your like EBITDA calculation, earning before interest, tax,
Yeah.
depreciation. Your balance sheet should be predict. This is all projected, projected balance sheet, projected profitability ratios. How will you utilize the funds if given to you? So that you can attract some investors. Then
Yeah.
you have to tell them exactly what is your profitability ratio and how much money will you return in the future course of action in the next 5 years. So if they look it very lucrative, they definitely will invest in you. And once you get a very good investment, you can really expand. You can have your own premise, you can expand your product to a growth stage, and there are lots of opportunities with you. So in this way, definitely you can proceed.
Yeah,
I
yeah. It's
hope
a
I
bit general
so.
question, and there's a new session for that actually.
Yes, yes,
Startups.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. There's one more question by Sri Devi Asokan, but I think this question was already answered by Shweta ma'am in the last session. What do you
Okay.
think are major challenge in starting startups by women?
Okay, women. No, I just see that women entrepreneurs are flourishing day by day in nowadays. Why? Because
Mhm.
I'm just talking about startup Gujarat policy. So their women entrepreneurs are more preferred because the sustenance allowance for women are more than the even men entrepreneurs. Expedited applications of patent examination. So expedited examination is only available either to a startup or individuals in which one applicant is a female. So there are a lot of benefits to the women entrepreneurs nowadays. So I think it would be a kind of opportunity. It is not a
Yeah,
challenge, it's a kind of opportunity. Challenges comes in actually in the mindset, like somewhere we think that we can't do, but actually there is no such hurdle. Even men and women face the same challenges in the field of startups. There is absolutely nothing like a challenge. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So one last question, maybe. We are. So, what are the advantages of MSME over DPIIT startups? Is
Okay.
it different?
So, no, actually, MSME is normally registered under Udyam portal as a MSME. So, micro level companies and startup, actually, they do not have any difference. DPIIT is a kind of recognition. It's a certificate that is given by the Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, whereas MSME is a kind of MSME ministry. So MSME Ministry provide the Udyam portal, and through which could be recognized as a MSME. MSME has also the advantage of expedited examinations of patent application, as well as they are eligible for loans such as MSME Mudra, MSME Tarun loan. DPIIT recognized startups are eligible for Startup India seed funding. So these are two different aspects. I can say two different government schemes. MSME loans normally are provided to those startups who are in the growth stage and have some work orders. So, if you have some work orders, you are most eligible for MSME loans. So, loan is given to somebody who has the revenue generation potential. So, the same way government also looks after that. So, early stage startup should go for DPIIT.